Welcome to the latest edition of In Our House. Children have been involved in a project about football, fashion and film. This resulted in a great collection of designed t-shirts, and the children took to the catwalk to show them off.
We've had a project that's been based around film, fashion and football, and these t-shirts that they've created are the designs that they wanted to represent the things that they love most about those things. The turnout from parents, the way that everybody has responded to the show, we couldn't have been happier with it. The children thoroughly enjoyed the being centre of attention and also just enjoyed the fact that they got to share their work in such a candid way with everybody else.
She thinks she's an angel. She looked at this design called The Horrible Devils. He created this, which is called The Legend. He's based this design on a player named Pele. He's his favourite football box, so that's where his design came from. He'd really like to see Shanae. She's wearing her design, which is called the Wildcats. She took her inspiration. She'd really like to see Sky Jackson wearing her design. He's wearing his outfit, which is called the Red Eagles. He's chosen this because he really likes seeing the eagles. They're his favourite bird. And he'd love to see his dad wearing this t-shirt. He's wearing his design, which is called the Marvellous Mannings. His inspiration for this came shooting star and decided to create this. She would really like to see... He would really like to see his dad wearing this outfit. Thank you, Ali. Ali wearing his design. He'd be very proud. Design. Thank you, Ariel. We have Malik. He's wearing his design called the Ferocious Dragons. He's taken this from Real Madrid's third kit, and that's why we chose it. He'd really like to see Jack Sexton wearing his outfit. And then being one of his favourite characters. He'd really like to see Ronaldo or Messi wear his design, which is called On Fire. Interestingly, he describes when he sat. We have Raphael. He's wearing his design, which is called Blue Lion. I'd really like to see Heskey wearing his design. Thank you. Stands up for people of Gotham City and stands for justice and fights crime. He'd really like to see his brother Jason wearing his design.
All across the West Midlands, subways are being filled in to make the area safer. We looked into one subway this month in 2009.
Important development in efforts to make our area safer.
Yet another subway has been filled in under Ladywood Middleway. On the weekend before work began, Jake went to investigate it and how the area around it has changed.
You down there, Al?
I'm here! I'm under here! And these are the reasons why the subway is being filled in. This is what the area used to look like before the subway was built. Have a look at this, Jake. Take it.
you updated on the subway.
What's yellow and white and travels at over 100 miles per hour?
A train driver's egg sandwich.
And it's even faster if you're travelling on the Eurostar. I just happened to interview the cab driver.
After she'd eaten her sandwich.
Here we are, Eurotunnel. Let's go. Here's the driver, Karen. This is Cliff. Tell us a little bit about the train.
We've just departed. A 2,500 tonne train has just pulled away and departed from Folkestone, and we're on our way to Calais. We're just arriving now at the tunnel entrance within minutes of leaving the platform. The train will now steadily pick up speed, where we'll get up to the cruising speed of 140 kilometres an hour. The track is a seamless track, so it will be a completely seamless ride and very, very smooth all the way through. On the tourist train we've got 30 carriages in total, a loco at the front and a loco at the back. One is pulling and one is pushing. The train itself is a little under 800 metres in length. The locos, on this particular loco we've got a 7 megawatt loco at the front and a 5.6 at the back. Probably the most powerful locos within Europe to pull the weight needed. The journey time itself is going to take us 34 minutes. We're actually only in the tunnel itself for about 22. And the driver is now increasing the speed, taking us up to 140. That'll happen over the next sort of kilometre and a half, and the train is going downhill. The gradient is slightly downhill as we depart Folkestone and head down towards Dover before the tunnel itself curves round to the right and takes us under the channel. At its deepest, I think we're probably about between 50 and 70 metres underneath the seabed. You've got the three tunnels. We're in what we call the North Tunnel, or tunnel number 2. This is the one which we normally use to go to France. You have another tunnel which is called the South Tunnel, tunnel number 1, which the trains will come back from France. Between the two tunnels you have a smaller diameter tunnel, which for us is called the service tunnel, and that tunnel's there should it ever be needed, that if a train were to stop, it's an evacuation area for people to go to. It's also pressurised, so there's an airlock door system to get in and out of that tunnel, whereas these tunnels are not pressurised. An interesting fact which not many people realise is the fact that this train is 800 metres long, and should the driver ever want to, the driver has the ability to put the emergency brakes on the train, and from this speed at that weight this train would stop within its own distance. That noise you just heard was a system called a VACMAR, a French terminology. A very old English term would have been a dead man's handle. So the driver must keep awake and keep pressing that handle or putting their foot on it. If it doesn't, or if Karen doesn't, the brakes come on immediately. Alright. So it's a safety feature that if anything were to happen to Karen, the train will stop. As we're driving through the tunnel now, you'll notice that there's a light on the wall on the right hand side, and that denotes where there is a cross passage door. That is a doorway into the service tunnel which I was speaking about earlier, and those doors are every 375 metres apart. So if a train were to come to a stop unexpectedly, there would always be two doors next to an 800 metre train.
So that's what these are here, is?
That's the crossover. So we've just passed the crossover. You'll hear a slight noise. If for any reason we had a train break down, to allow us to keep moving trains backwards and forwards, we can open the doors at 2 points in the tunnel, and we can go and use the track on the other side, so we can go into the other tunnel.
So Karen, what's good about your job?
I like being in my own space, and I'm sort of my own person down here.
Have you faced any difficulties?
I've had a few stop trains for a few incidences and things like that, but that's all part of the job.
The tunnel itself, as you've already seen sitting in the cab, we're going around some very big corners and we're going uphill and downhill. And the reason for that is the tunnel was actually bored into something which we called a chalk merle, a very grey chalk, but it's a very, very solid chalk. So all the tunnel borings were done in the core of earth in the chalk merle. So we had to follow the line of the chalk merle before we could to be in the safest point to build the tunnel.
Do you ever get any leaks?
In actual fact, no. When we were building the tunnel, we thought there would be some minor seepage and minor leaks, so naturally we built pumping stations into the lowest area of the tunnel. But it very soon became apparent that the pumps were actually going rusty because they weren't used enough. So now in actual fact we do run the pumps on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, by actually putting some water into the pumps to allow the pumps to work to pump something out, because otherwise they didn't have anything to do.
So no thanks.
Yep.
How many lady drivers? Yeah.
About 10% of our workforce, so not as many as there should be.
So that's a 10 out of 120, you think?
Roughly, yeah, roughly.
So do you go backwards and forwards?
No, the trains actually do a figure of 8. There's a crossover just as we arrived in France just then, which you probably didn't notice. But as you realise now, when we arrive in France, it's taking us a lot longer to get to the platform. That's because we're going to go round in a much bigger loop. So the train is now back facing the way to go back to England. So the trains actually continue in going round and round in one direction, but they go over a figure of 8 piece of track. The idea being with the figure of 8 that we don't just wear out the wheels on one side, so the wheels get even wear on both sides as the train performs its figure of 8. So more or less back where you started in England, but
So
just a French platform.
Yeah. We have to drive back now, or do you get a break?
Karen gets about 26 minutes while the train unloads, while you guys get off, and then we stick another load of cars on, and then she's got to drive back.
Emily Ferrari, TNT News with Lee Shuttle.
When you walk around the city, you may think there is a lot of redevelopment going on.
Wow, soon there'll be even more activity because a design project is being held to redevelop Centenary Square.
Centenary Square was named in 1989 to celebrate the centenary of Birmingham becoming a city, although it didn't actually open until 1991. For a long time it looked like this. Eventually the square took shape. Now there will be more changes ready for when the metro line is built. This time the whole square is to be redesigned. 185 groups entered a competition, and here are the 5 shortlisted designs. The designs will go on display in the library in May, and the final judging will take place in June. Emily Ferrari, TNT News, Centenary Square.
Earlier we talked about a healthier environment.
And one way to make people healthier is to put gyms in parks.
AJ was there to see a gym in action.
So, here with me is Craig. I hear you're a professional boxer for Ladywood.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so what do you think of all of this?
I think it's good. I think it's good for the community. You know, hopefully people come out here and actually use the stuff and look after it. You know, I've been here myself with my son and I've seen people using it already. So hopefully they keep it up.
So, what sort of tips would you recommend for people using these?
Just look after them, use them right. You know, don't abuse them, and obviously know what you're doing before you work on them, because you can injure yourself by training on equipment that you don't know how to use. If you do your sets and stuff right, then you'll be fine, you know, and enjoy using it as well.
Okay. So as it happens, there's actually tips for training here, as you can see.
See, this is an example of getting people to use the equipment properly. So I've seen a lot of people that haven't looked at the information and read it through. And what I've seen them doing is bending the legs.
Okay.
So what it's built for is to assist you in doing a pull-up. So you keep your legs straight and then just pull up.
So when you were young, did you want to be a boxer when you were older?
Yeah, always wanted to be a boxer. But, I couldn't do it too young because my mum wouldn't let me. People get too hurt, she says. So when I got into boxing when I turned 16, just to keep fit, I didn't want to fight. Turns out I was pretty good at it. So I decided to fight when I was about 18. So 2 years of training, got into fighting. And then turned 20, won a few titles as an amateur, turned 20 to 24, and then turned professional. And then
Thank you, Craig. If you would like some help, I'll help you.
oh, thanks.
And now for this. This is Paradise Circus. It's not much of a paradise, is it? No, it's not. It's horrible. It's called Paradise Circus because once it used to have loads of green fields all around this area. So it really was paradise. It can be seen on this map from 1553. The field was actually called Paradise Close. And now you can see that the edge of the field is actually the edge of the road. So that's a bit of history for you. I didn't know that!
Earlier this series, we showed the first games of the Birmingham Primary School's HMS Birmingham Vars school competition.
Now the next round is underway and we went to watch Oratory School of Ladywood take on Holy Family School of Small Heath.
Oratory in maroon dominated the game from the kickoff and Mikel gave the home side an early lead. A powerful run down the left wing by Ben resulted in a great ball to Giovanni, who made it 2-0.
No one's marking yet?
There was some great defending by Holy Family, and they then shot wide with their best chance of the game. Both sides each missed an opportunity to score. First Oratory, then Holy Family. A third goal came, and Aaron scored for the Oratory. After a period of possession football, Mikel made it 4-0. And it was soon 5-0 when Mikel scored from a corner. There was time for the sixth goal scored by Giovanni.
Three cheers for the Holy Family. Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
The final score is 6-0. 6 to Archie, 0 to Holy Family. I'm here with the goal scorers, Giovanni, Mikel and Aaron. Tell us about the game.
First of all, it looked really hard to see and to beat them, but we had strength and faith in ourselves.
Are you looking forward to the next game?
I'm very happy to score, and I'm looking forward to the next game.
So there we are. Archery 6, Holy Family 0. Amara Koryang, TNT News, Archery School.
Claiming that it was a deflection, but it hit off me and went in. So Giovanni, what do you think?
This is me and this is my shot. It bobbled and then went in.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now the panel will assess the video evidence.
That was Giovanni's goal because when he took the shot, Joshua tried to move out the way, and after the shot was taken and the goal was scored, Joshua was sat down and Giovanni went off celebrating. If it was Joshua's goal, he would have celebrated, but it was Giovanni's goal because he went off celebrating.
We now think all of us Giovanni scored the goal. True?
True.
True.
The judges have decided that Giovanni has scored the goal. Can I appeal? The judge's decision is final.
Now is something completely different.
Ooh.
An incident that occurred in the middle of World War II has become a tourist attraction in Ireland. Until recently, this plaque on the wall was all there was to commemorate what had happened.
And now, to commemorate the 70th anniversary, this statue has just been unveiled.
That's right, it's a monkey.
And this is a monkey with a big tail to tell. This remarkable story is centred here on the O'Donovan Hotel in Clonakilty in County Cork.
When an American bomber on its way to Norway from Africa crash-landed on a nearby marsh in 1943, the crew and their mascot, Tojo the monkey, became local celebrities. But sadly, the monkey died whilst in the hotel, owned by the O'Donovans. Here's Tom O'Donovan.
Buried him with full military honours. There was another room here at the time, and the back wall of the hotel was around about here. So there was a long flower bed along here, and he was buried there, beside the flower bed.
So this is the spot.
Of course, the monkey was a huge novelty to the people of the town. During the Second World War, there was much of that sort of thing around. So they actually laid him out in one of the bedrooms above, in his full regalia, and all the people of the town came in to view this monkey lying in state. They actually queued up the stairs to go in and look at this monkey and pay their respects. And afterwards, they put him into a little box and they marched in one door of the in the yard this side, down the street, and in the other side they just marched around the circle and buried him.
The statue was unveiled in time for the 70th anniversary of the landing.
The people walked down to the bog, and down below at the bog they raised the Irish flag and the American flag. We sang the Irish national anthem and the American national anthem. The American military attaché was there. Some high-ranking Irish army were there as well. Just a very interesting day.
It's not finished yet. There's going to be some plaques alongside it to explain what it's all about, but already it's attracted a lot of attention.
It went viral. It was picked up by every newspaper and radio station, internet. Absolutely amazing.
Tongue-in-cheek in a way, because he's looking to see where he's going.
Exactly.
And then he's got the compass as well. E and the W, east and west, is the opposite way around, isn't it?
Yes.
Which sort of indicates confusion, really, because they didn't know where they were going.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Oh, that's the steering wheel of a plane.
Good for your business, I suppose, isn't it? Does it bring people in?
Oh, it does. The amount of people who come in just to look at the statue, it's good. It's good. It's good for the town. It's good for our business.
Yeah.
So we're delighted.
Might have thought there was some monkey business going on years and years ago, and there still is.
That's it from today's edition of In Our House. Thanks for watching and goodbye.